InShalla and Ashe. New moon blessings to you, my energetic beings. If you haven't grabbed it yet, my Musing Moon meditation is in the corridor. I do have the link in the show notes. But being that we are in the season of spirit, imagination, psychic sensitivity, mystical awareness, healing, even spiritually or otherwise, compassion, and also releasing. New moon intentions about the Piscean kinds of things. But welcome to today's daily snippet. Once again, I am your host. I am a practicing holistic Sha'medium, shamanism and mediumship, and subtle energetic surgeon, merging these indigenous technologies, the spirit of the Dagara tribe in Dano, Burkina Faso, with the subtle energies, elements, and elemental beings. For me, it's the elemental realm, nature, into the imaginal realm, the otherworldly realms, with offerings, rituals, prescriptions to add to your personal ingredient in your container, the juice. But really, my heart's intention is to merge these indigenous technologies with rituals, offerings, and mergings into these subtle realms, what I call the etheric highway, really to assist us all into navigating our prime directive, our inner genius, and remembering the magical being that resides within each and every one of us. My name is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. I'll be shifting it around here soon, but if you haven't already, please be kind and do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tonya D, or All Things Tonya D, if you don't mind. If it is on YouTube, please go ahead and hit the bell so you're notified. And also, if you don't mind, really liking my videos. That really helps the algorithm echo out to suggest me to other like-minded musers in the galactic universe. Along with the other social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and of course my Musing with Tonya D podcast, if you've yet to join that. But just noticing that we're in this kind of a whirl, or at least I am, between paganism and shamanism. You know, I've even been called a witch oftentimes, the good kind of course, but it's curious, and then add some kind of druidry to that too. But in the end, it becomes, you know, a spiritual Heinz 57. Do you feel that way too? So nature for me, nature is the goddess. She is this all enveloping, if you will, of all the things nature related, from the stars, the planets, the animals, the plants, the waters of the earth, and so much more. She really is the cosmic soup bowl. Words of wisdom, ancient wisdom, the origin, if you will. And all of nature has its own spiritual entities. Some of them are non-human beings that are benevolent, and some are not so benevolent, but there are realms of spirit, the non-ordinary reality. And, you know, it's like, why the journey to access this non-ordinary, unfamiliar playground? Well, really for a variety of reasons, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, even spiritual healing through divinations, rituals, offerings to really restore balance between nature and community. So it's this dance between one reality perceived and the other reality not yet perceived, or is it? So they are connected, as all of life is, interconnectedness. So being that we are entwined with the spirit world in this reciprocal kind of dating fashion, if you will, the journey to contact or connect with spirit is usually in a way of bargaining. It's kind of a bargaining tool with the beings that are non-human in the spiritual realm to assist us in securing for, or hopefully for, the highest good of community of all. So for me, it's all about nature, the seasons, the cultivation, the culture, the healer, the spirit, the wounds, and really so much more. But the seasons of life, the seasons of an elemental nature, you know, if you would like to pick a card for your day, I would probably maybe pause the stream now or come back to it and pick a message before I start as well. However, today I'm going a little longer, and a little shout out to Miss Heidi. Thanks for the comment. But if you like, share, comment, I will actually pull a message for you as well. So just remember, sharing is ultimately caring, as always. But in the upcoming week, we're going to be exploring the gate of mineral or metal in my immersion, Voices of the Otherworld. You know, it's all on replay mode now. So if you're curious about that, it is available for your viewing pleasure, or at least your pleasure, right? But being that the sun and the moon are together, not just because it's a new moon, but it's also at the 12 degrees again, the sun and the moon. these two are merging their essences, bridging the benevolence of Jupiter. The 1 plus the 2 makes the 3. So that's Jupiter energy. It brings in our core day-to-day beliefs in our outer world. And Jupiter is in Pisces as well as Neptune. So this moon is in its land of the mystical, the shamanic, the pagan, the druid, etc. All the stuff, the witchers, if you will, all the witchers out there. So I pulled the sun, the moon, and a Jupiter, the wheel of fortune, if you will, in the position of the sun. So I'm going through each of these and also Neptune. So I have like 5 cards today. But the first card is the message kind of from the sun. That was my intention. And let's get rid of that. This is the 7 of Swords. I don't know if you can see that, but he's hiding his face behind a mask. He's shrouding in his nature, his nature. He's smirking kind of in this satisfying kind of sneaky way. And he's managed literally to steal one of the swords that swan is guardian. She's the guardian of. She's overseeing these swords. So he thinks that she's oblivious, the guardian and the gatekeeper, right? But she is, in fact, she's watching him with her eye over her shoulders, like the peripheral view, if you will. So she knows and she's recognizing his nature, his innate nature, his authenticity. So the blackbirds are really descending upon him and they're noticing that what he has, he's got this shiny, bright little gem, if you will. They're drawn to the sparkle of the blade. So being that he is disguised as a black bird, he believes he's very clever as he was drawing this sword from the stone. So the 7 of Swords represents an attempt to escape responsibility. So it's the thief who tries to make away with what is not theirs. He's dishonorable. He tries to keep everything to himself and kind of two-faced to those who attempt to approach him. So the result of such an outlook is on the world is actually uncertainty, because if we are untrustworthy, then why risk having faith in others as well, right? So like deception breeds distrust and it's a pessimistic viewpoint. However, it's otherworldly today. So for me, it's the realm of the other world sees past all of this and the other world is alive and well. So these opposing forces, whether it's an ancestor, a non-human being, a pet, etc., an angelic being, anything that's made it to the realm of the ancestor, the world of spirit. So the door is open to the other world as well. So that's kind of, we got to have faith and trust in the other world, the galactic universe, whatever that is to you. And then in the position of the moon, which I found was curious, we have the 8 of Pentacles. So my intention was the sun being the first card, the moon the second, Jupiter the third, Neptune the fourth, and a bonus for Heidi at the fifth. But being that we have the 8 of Pentacles, which I think is magical and mystical as well. So we've got this diligent, patient little spider crafting her web, dusting the dawn, the dew stars off those threads, if you can see them, the stars of the dew. So she's the weaver, weaving a pattern. She's weaving a dream of the summer smells and the drape of autumn, weaving again. She's just weaving around, weaving again. She's a weaver of fate even. She's weaving this frail life's tale that's actually anchoring the line, anchoring into the earth plane. She's weaving the moon's signs and symbols as well. So she's the weaver of the web, and she's crafting each silky little precious thread, if you will, if you've ever watched a spider. They're kind of these artists. They have inhibitions that are shed. They work hard, and they weave mostly through the night, the midnight hours, and each thread is placed with care to create this magical pattern all at once. It's beautiful. It's built for a purpose. It's similar to meditation. It's this intricate dance with these 8 moving legs and spinning and stepping and holding and just placing each thread magically and twisting and stepping and repeating all over. But the 8 of Pentacles is the embodiment of craftsmanship. So somebody who's possessing great patience and who is attentive to all the fine little details, if you will. So it's a call to be absorbed in a project, a task, to seek or the knowledge and having a higher understanding, be pursuing of that. But this has to be done with practical experience. It is a pentacle, right? Using one's own hands and mind to create. So this is often what's required to actually achieve success. Practical application, intellect, skill, to see things through to the finish line, if you will. So being that this is the place of the moon, that's like the emotional feelings behind the creation to make it otherworldly. And then we have, which I think this is great too, in the place of Jupiter, we have the Three of Cups. You know, I don't know if you can see the magic of this card, but it truly is magical. And there is a song that dwells at the ocean's floor. This reminds me of kind of like the singers, but it's coming from the sound of the ocean floor. The singers in the realms of the fairy, the sound of the universe. But the sounds of the ocean floor, it's lurking within the essence of those streams, and it's hiding in the whispers of the voices of the whales and the dolphins, and it's kind of haunting the reefs and the caverns. But then, you know, once in a great while, just like a bubbling airstream, it gets to gather beneath the crust of the waves and brings forth this unstoppable swell as it's rising towards the surface. So these sirens of the deep, they've been waiting for this moment, this moon moment, I would say, but they're coming together and they're going to feel this signal or this sigil, and they're trembling through these waves at all corners of the sea, and they're singing the ocean's voices, and their voices weave this melody. So they descent upon the ocean song, and they've got laughter, and they're in joy, and their just sound is rippling from their lips, if you will. So they have this gleeful shudder of the water, and it's summoning all the denizens of the sea, the water elementals, which I talked about in Voices of the Otherworld. However, all of these creatures among these ocean swells, they are going to follow in the wake of the sirens, the voice, the song, the melody, the very movement of all of the beings who swim through these waters. So it's this elegant dance of undulation, just going with the flow. It's this powerful slicing through of the waves, and, you know, this liquid dance of the sea just bursting through out into the surface. You know, it's like meditation with waves. But the song is echoing to the vast vault of the heavenly realm. So the Three of Cups is a call for celebration. It's dancing, it's singing, it's friendship. It's the key component with companionship, being the best friend, and just relying on others and developing community and having a team spirit. However, again, being that this is also otherworldly, right? You know, I would hope for the other world to be coming into our world to celebrate the dance and to sing and be our friends as we develop community of those otherworldly relations and have a spirit that's more of unity within the other realms, being that we are in the season of spirit. And then in the place of Neptune, we have the Fool, which is great. It's a 0. It's the mystical. It's the magical. It is the other world. At least it is for me, the Fool, right? It's our subconscious. It's dreaming. So it begins with this whisper, this voice, if you will. It's like it's like telepathy, I guess. So we've got these serpentine song threads through days and going through her thoughts. And there's a calling, there's a beckoning of the voice to come, or for the essence of spirit to come, and to come some more and be in that realm. It's like, where are we going? Where are we coming to? That's kind of the question. But to stay curious and question everything, and knowing that sometimes there isn't a response. So sometimes we ignore the summon until one day that song, that unexpected song, explodes and it's filling to the brim. And the pulse and the energy is really undeniable. And it's like, where are we going? You know? And we ask again, and we're patient. But this time we've got this sturdy, steady beat of our heart in the response. So the energy of the Fool has really come a long way, traveled far from the far starry beyond, to come to this pinnacle that rises up upon the edge of the world, the crust of the world. But our journey is just about to begin. So we have this sense, this instinctive kind of perception that we're rising up upon our toes, caught in this breathless embrace of the wind, if you will. But in the moment, right before the plunge, the heart pounds and it's fluttering in the chest. We get that excitement, right? We've got this force of 100 beating wings all around us. I don't know if you can see those in the card, but just struggling to break free of the cage of our beingness. So until we feel that we must be like sprouting our own wings from our shoulders to glide forth from this place, transformed like the butterfly out of the cocoon, you know, there's this moment of wait or don't. There's this thin, probably effervescent, trilling voice from within that's saying like caution or fear, right? But I always like to say there's magic on the other side of fear that holds us back, right? So it's this message that we should step forward and also, you know, standing on the edge of something very sheer, like this precipice, if you will, with only the ribbons of those doves holding as we choose to move forward. But the fox, there's a little fox there, I don't know if you can see him, he's taking this all in. He's the watcher, he's the observer, he's the embodiment of all things clever, right? If you've ever watched a fox. But being clever, that doesn't preclude being a fool, or does it, of a different kind of fool. So he really can't comprehend the leap of faith that our little essence here is about to take. So it's kind of like, who is the fool? She's the fool for stepping out into the unknown, or what seems to be kind of a complete lack of knowledge, illogical thoughts, or is the fox being the fool for just being too rooted in a belief of the reality of that intellectual thinking? So the fool really is a symbol for new beginnings, adventures, pleasure, passions, just rushing ahead, being thoughtless, maybe rash even, doing before the thinking. So it's these obeying of instincts. So like the fool, you may stand up on your pedestal, your precipice, just gazing out into the unknown, this endless expanse of the blue nothing, the sky that fills the space between the high up area and the ground that's so very, very far away, floating on the clouds, if you will. So there's either this obvious or oblivious foolishness to this plunging that seems terrible. So you may experience or else a wild spirit of adventure, having great faith, knowledge in what can or what will kind of come up for you and guide us through these times that are coming. So there are unlimited possibilities opening up for the seeker, and the seeker is us, the unlimited. So that's kind of the message there. Go for an adventure. Go for the unlimited possibilities. Go out into the unknown. And then for Heidi, we have the 10 of Swords for you. Swords being air, it's our thoughts, it's the mind. The number 10 is also a placeholder of our heart, and the 1 and the 0, the placeholder of our boundaries around our thoughts, being it's the sword. So she's falling, and the birds are not assisting her at all. Instead, they are circling in this tightening spiral around her, if you can see that. And this will is this viciously above. That's what they're creating as a will. So they're like vultures awaiting the certainty of death. So their wings are like blades, their feathers are like knives, and they're slicing the skin and their cloth alike. So the pierce of this shroud with their pointed beaks, it's facilitating this plummet to a greater speed, if you will. Even their kind of cries, they seem hostile, indifferent at night. It's gray, but the air is rushing past her ears in this hollow, tuneless whistle, and the trees are actually reaching out. They're bare branched, their claws out to the sky, if you will, and their trunks are actually rotting from within. So in the end, she's crying out to the sky, or is it just the curtain falling upon an act of melodramatic martyrdom, being a martyr? So the 10 of Swords represents misfortune, desolation, burdens to bear, ruin, the end of the delusions. It feels like circumstances have instigated this spiraling and uncontrollable plunge, like her fall, if you will. So sometimes circumstances are beyond human control, And sometimes there's nothing to do but literally ride out that wave. So pick up the pieces when things finally come to that halt and learn from those mishaps or those mistakes. It's kind of a lot, huh? So I would stay curious, do an offering to the other realms. The veil is thin, or it appears to be thin. Maybe it's just me. Commit, if it's thin for you, go ahead and comment. But so yeah, that's kind of what I've got from that. Mistakes are not only mistakes, it's perception of what seems to be a mistake. And then on the elemental highway, I'm bringing in the hour of the new moon at apex. Was actually an hour ago right now, 10:34 my time, so an hour wherever you're at. But we have a wood tiger of a day, a young wood tiger of a day. And I have a young wood tiger day pillar, so this is lots of tiger energy happening here. But the earth is in storage, and it's also hidden in the hour of the snake and the hour. It's yin earth, but it's in the stem of the hour. So the tigers are the first stages of spring in the element of wood, the direction of wood, the east. And the snake is the birth element of fire and the fire direction, the south. But we have all this young wood energy, which it can be represented by a tree, a wise tree. And it's also considered to be very strong in the tiger month, right? We've got all this wood energy. The temperatures are still cold and low because of the transition. We're still coming from winter into spring. But the most needed element for a young wood person in the tiger month is actually young fire that will provide the warmth for the tree and also the earth, which still might be frozen from those winter days or winter nights. I'm tired of the chill, but the yang metal is actually needed the most to cut down the excessive wood. We don't have any yang metal at all in this chart, hidden or otherwise. So that would help the wood, and yin fire is also great for all that wood energy. And we've got a lot of yang fire hidden as well. And yin water actually is needed. However, we got a lot of water on the month and the year too. So to kind of keep the tigers in our day master, the main element moistened, if you will, the roots. But water is kind of overwhelming as well. I don't think we really need more of that, but it's not really needed because it's cold, the coldness as well. So, and even the earth, the element of earth, that's kind of, we have enough of that. So unless it's combined with the fire, which creates more of the dry earth. So there's wet earth and there's dry earth. We've got a very dry, young earth in those tigers, right? But our day is very strong. It's supported. But being that it's so supported, it's the possibility of it being too warm. And the metal that we don't have anything of is dysfunctional because the energy, the frequency has been reduced. It's power for a wood person. Metal is power for a wood person. Fire is the output. Wealth is actually the earth. But the fire element is actually, it's needed to create the busyness for the tiger so the tiger can get off the couch, if you will, and bring that energy of wood to balance our day. But it's not really able to burn the wood. It's not dry wood. It's too fresh. So it's not really gonna help our day. So our day truly is in need of, I would say, fire, earth, and metal, but mostly metal actually, because there's none of it to bring balance. And so meditation or whatever that is for you, it's a very yang day. We only got one yin energy in the hour. So definitely go inward, whatever that is for you. Usually it's meditation, solitude, right? But our outer world, all that yang energy, except that one lonely little earth yin up there on the hour, I would totally bring in metal to bridge our day. Metal, again, is our thoughts, the swords, those intentions, our self-management skills, decision-making, Are you leading yourself with kindness? That's the energy of wood, is kindness. Are you bringing in joy, which would be fire? Are you contemplating peace, which would be both earth and water? And more importantly, are you being courageous? So this year, the water tiger is the energy of the bladder, energy, water, and the gallbladder, the tiger, which wood is It's the gallbladder's resentments. It's the could-have, would-have, should-haves, and the bladder is about releasing. It's our ancestral DNA, stuff like that. It's also fear. So we've got fear and we have anger. So all of these tigers, you know, my dad is a tiger month on a tiger day in a year of a monkey. That's a clash there. He doesn't have any fire in his chart at all. My mother brought that to him. That's how all these elementals play out. But alcohol is actually a fire element. It'll burn off all that excess wood energy. So there's a meta symbology there, fire, right? Besides alcohol, and different alcohols resonate with different energetic centers. So it's kind of an alert signal for me when things are disrupted, I guess, adversities. But symbology, meta symbols, cardio would also burn off all that excess wood as well. Fire is the heart as well, right? Or spicy foods even. But, you know, that's just kind of an example of what's happening in my container here. But just knowing the elementals, the element of wood is for sure dominating our day. Not to go down the rabbit hole, but fire and metal is also war. It's strategic leadership, passion, charisma. So when we look at these leaders in the situation here, but metal's the leadership and the ability to make decisions and taking a courageous stand. That is metal. And fire is the action or the output. It's the element of the day. Not that I'm promoting, I'm just kind of musing out loud elementally how these elementals play. But we need leadership to bridge the wood, which is actually appearing angry. So it doesn't feel like a kind of day. So I would say pour love. Fire is spirit. It's also love. So love in the channels, the streams, the airwaves, if you will. Metal's also air. Meditate on bringing love to the adversary, the forces of adversity, the blessings of betrayal, as Melodoma would say. And being that the energy of today is one of the cosmic spirit, our belief channel, make it a spiritual learning day. Take an adventure. Step out into new skin. Put on a new wardrobe. So it's like what we believe about the outer world, our systems, our energetic or otherwise, they're expanding. So it could be systems of belief, faith, karma, our destinies. Karma is usually seen as things that happen to us repeatedly, patterning. But it's what is happening on the inside. It's the reflection to those outer rims, the mirror, if you will. So we attract this mirrored image, right? If we're aware of it, and we attract what we are reflecting inside of ourselves. So for me, it's the etheric mirror. It's the Earth Star. It's the Vivaxis. They're kind of having their own little mutable dance, but we also have memory loss. So it's in the remembering when we can respond differently to these situations, events, things around us. So the merging of our outer world into our inner world creates this kind of karmic story, positive or negative, just recognizing that we have entangled ourselves in the web, the card of the day, the Eight of Pentacles, the web of what we've energetically attracted. And we do this sometimes simultaneously and usually without even knowing it, you know. So it's like if we blame continually something outside of us or shame something, it's usually the world or somebody out there did this to me. I actually talk about that in the balance of being, but we've returned to us the flow of the letting go of the things. It's like when we authentically get the memo and we trust the universe, the grid line, we've got faith in the purpose, you know. I do rituals almost probably every day. So for me, this could also be something that could have happened in another lifetime, a timeline, an incarnation, etc., whatever that looks like. Bouncing timelines, you know. So the Tonya here is doing something totally different than the Tonya in another dimension. So it's like peeking in and having a look-see. However, today in the Watchtower, if you take notice on what you are attracting within the situations, you know, are they a reflection of what you're feeling and your karmic structure to those outer rims? Are you feeling super juicy? Then you too can attract something superhuman juicy. But if you live in the frequency of scarcity, you're going to be attracting more of that scarcity into your essence. If you're feeling shifty, then you're going to attract some shifty things into your experience. So on the inside world, that inner voice, the inner reality, really use your inside voice. And I talked about feelings a couple weeks ago in my private group, my offering groups. But if you were to follow the feelings, the thread lines of the feelings, and kind of acknowledge them, and what is the situation you're attracting? What inside of you is that attraction? So the feelings send out charges, energetic charges like lightning bolts. Frequency, I would say be in the safe of feeling and be different in the feels, in the feels of the field. And just simple awareness really will shift the spirit, even if it's just a hiccup, a snap. But be in the observation station, the watcher in the tower. So, and respond differently to your feelings and really follow the threads of the feelers. So just kind of notice what you are attracting today. It's time to attract differently. It reminds me of tuning forks, what we attune to. Are we attuning to a higher octave, a higher frequency, a higher spiritual acumen? Are we attracting and frequenting the less thans? So kind of sit with yourself first before you sit with others outside of you. So it's time for like a new piece in the puzzle, not literally a new piece. It's just how we map out the puzzle. So if we put the pieces in the same place over and over again, you know, the adventure stays the same. Where the adventure is at, you know, feel into your moon, feel into your heart. We have the blessings of spirit upon us. And we also have Neptune, the galaxy as well. So yeah, our crown is online. Actually, the sauce. Honestly, I would do a total buttercup meditation today. Cleanse the entire essence of who you are. I would totally check out the buttercup meditation. It's at club.tonyad.tv. It really is the juice. It recalibrates all of our energetic centers and cleans out the cosmic cobwebs. You could use also the show notes, chant all the seed sounds as well. Probably a lot of the metal as far as the elementals. But we have unlimited options today. So be really heart-centric. Allow spirit to be your guide. Tune into your feelings. So it's like we are upcycling our spiritual revolution, releasing the old, the patternings, the beliefs, the karmic structure, that webbing, and just opening to a new spiritual container. Our highest elevated timeline, right? So the potentials truly are endless. So I would affirm that I am opening the door to my sacred spiritual garden, experiencing earth as heaven on earth. As far as that goes, I don't know if you can hear Lily crying in the background. It's just part of what happens around here on the daily. And last, to sum it up, I have an announcement. If you have purchased any of my offerings in my online venue, my corridor musing with Tonya D, this is where I'm doing my offerings on my private space. So check your virtual mailbox to connect with that space as well. I've been going live on Sundays around 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm going to be doing probably 2 more about connecting to your dream space. But again, being that we're in the fire season, fire year in the Dagara cosmology, I will probably go into the realms of ancestors and visions as well through the season of the year, just connecting to our innate fire, what that is to each and every one of us. And be sure to check out my podcast. And as always, I will see you on the other side. Make it a magical new moon, spiritual connector kind of a day. The juice is on. InShalla and Ashe. Blessings.